Match 54 of the Big Bash. Brisbane Heat, Perth Scorchers. Let's build our fantasy team on My 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPN Cricket 4. I'm Raunak Kapoor and Andrew McGlashan is all set to join me. Right, let's go to our pro tip for this one and some serious decisions to make in your fantasy teams as we approach the knockouts of this year's Big Bash. And our pro tip says that most of the Australia players who've just made it back from their national team commitments have had major impacts for their team in the Big Bash. So make sure you have the likes of Labuschagne and Mitchell Swepson, who didn't feature in the Test series but was part of the squad for Australia, in your team. Nasha, what do you make of that?
Yeah, they've all slotted back in pretty well to the tournament, which is quite impressive, really, given the lack of cricket some of them had. I mean, someone like Swepson had not bowled since early December, but he's slotted back in quite nicely. So, yeah, it's always worthwhile to keep an eye on those big-name players when they come back in.
All right. Now, no major changes expected for either side ahead of this one, but do check in closer to the toss for updated news. On the My 11 Circle Fantasy app, 100 credits for every user to build their fantasy team. 4 categories of players to choose from: batsmen, bowlers, wicket keepers, and all-rounders. You can pick a maximum of 7 players from one team in any given contest, and we'll throw in 4 substitute options for you towards the end of this video as well. Starting with our captain choice, we've gone for Colin Munro for this one. It's been a season and a tale of two halves for Colin Munro. In the initial 5 games, just 85 runs. But in the next 7, 319 and at a strike rate of nearly 140. He's been quite that rock in the middle overs for the Perth Scorchers, scoring 252 runs at an average of 63 and a strike rate of over 140s. One of the reasons why the Scorchers find themselves where they are on the table. Vice-captain option, Marnus Labuschagne, leading run scorer in the Test series recently, and we have said he's one of those players that seems to have had an instant impact once he's featured in the Big Bash. He's carried his form into it, and the highest fantasy points aggregator for his side in both the games that he's played so far. So keep Marnus Labuschagne high up there in those captaincy positions. Colin Munro is captain, Labuschagne is vice-captain. They gave you double and 1.5 times the points, respectively. Chris Lynn features in our top picks. It's Brisbane Heat. It's got to be Chris Lynn. He is the leading run scorer for Heat this season. 369 runs in just 9 games, striking at over 150. We know what he can do on the day that he does tee off. Jhye Richardson, the new pace sensation, leading wicket taker in this year's Big Bash, a staggering 26 strikes in 13 games at an average of just over 12. And finally, Jason Roy, the limited over specialist from England, one of the safest picks, you think, in the Big Bash so far, recording scores of 20 or more in 8 of the 10 games that he's played. So Munro is captain, Labuschagne is vice-captain, Chris Lynn, Jhye Richardson, Jason Roy round off our top picks. Nasha, what do you make of those?
You could make a case for any of those 5 names being your captain or vice-captain. Certainly Munro and Labuschagne are worthy of those slots. Roy's hit some terrific form as well coming into the latter stages. So it's a bit of a gut feel, really. But yeah, that's a very strong 5 heading into the knockouts.
Right, let's go to our differential picks. A couple of Mitchells feature. Let's start off with Marsh. It's been that sort of unfortunate season for Mitch Marsh, just plagued with injuries. Just when he regained full fitness, had another breakdown. He's now just deemed fit enough to bat and is yet a key player for the Perth Scorchers. Very good at the death. We know what he can do if he gets going towards the end. That 199 runs that he's managed at an average of 33 overall in this year's Big Bash has seen quite a few big blows towards the end. Mitchell Swepson is there as well. Leg spinner picked up 3 for 23 in his 4 overs against India and the recent white ball series, awarded man of the match for his efforts as well. Even though he's missed a majority of this season due to national commitments, he did pick up that 2 for 26 in his last outing against the Renegades. Is looking pretty good, is Mitchell Swepson. So Marsh and Swepson in our differential picks. Our full team sees Josh Inglis as the keeper option, Munro as our recommended captain, Labuschagne as our recommended vice-captain, Chris Lynn, Jason Roy, Max Bryant, Mitchell Marsh, Jhye Richardson, Mitchell Swepson, Mark Steketee and Andrew Tye to round off our 11. Substitutes bench features the likes of Jason Behrendorff, Liam Livingston, Lewis Gregory and Xavier Bartlett. Now, Behrendorff could replace Tye in the 11 in an alternate scenario. We're also considering Chris Lynn and Jhye Richardson among those captaincy choices. Nasha, what do you make of those? And any last thoughts you'd like to leave our viewers with?
Yeah, I would be tempted to go with Jason Behrendorff in the 11 ahead of Tye. I think you're a little bit more secure of what you'll get with Behrendorff. He may not take the volume of wickets, but he isn't going to concede too many runs for you. And he seems to be hitting his stride towards the back end of this tournament as he comes back from that bad injury. Left armour as well, always quite valuable. So I'd be tempted by Behrendorff out of those extra sub-options that we've given you.
All right. Nasha, thanks very much as always for your time and your thoughts. That wraps up another episode of My 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPN Cricket 4.